This content is presented by Ajit Kumar Nair, psychologist from Nair's Epigenetic Wellness, providing online and offline support. You can reach out at 9446-467-779. In the animal world, childhood is intense but brief. A wildebeest calf stands and finds its footing within minutes of birth. Because physical maturity arrives quickly, the young can leave their parents driven purely by instinct, without facing a psychological crisis. Humans are different. Because we require large, complex brains, we must be born early, leaving us physically helpless for years. This biological requirement is known as neoteny, meaning our survival depends entirely on the intervention of others. Our timeline of dependency is stretched to the extreme. For over a decade, caretakers act as our entire universe. They are the sole source of our food, our safety, and our very identity. This graph compares our development to the rest of the animal kingdom. While animal autonomy peaks in weeks, human dependency spans decades. This long-term reliance creates a deep psychological blueprint in the developing brain, the expectation that an external, powerful force will always provide regulation and safety. Because the brain matures while relying on a caretaker to manage every threat, it integrates the concept of a protector into its basic architecture. This biology hardwires us to expect an omnipotent presence to sustain our existence. Eventually, every human must step away from that caretaker to become an independent self. This creates a friction that animals never encounter. We experience this because of metacognition, the ability to think about our own thinking. This allows us to understand our own vulnerability and recognize that our time is limited. When we turn this awareness toward the people raising us, we realize our caretakers are limited and mortal. They cannot protect us from a world that is often indifferent to our survival. After 20 years of having a higher power look after us, the mind panics when it is forced to confront absolute self-reliance. Severing this psychological umbilical cord creates a sense of existential insecurity. We are left with the realization that we are ultimately alone within our own minds. To survive the transition to adulthood without collapsing into anxiety, the human psyche must adapt to this new, lonely reality. The mind manages this by projecting the childhood dynamic onto the cosmos. It takes the original reliance on a parent and applies it to the universe itself. As the link to the flawed human parent breaks, the mind constructs the concept of God, the ultimate parent figure. Believing in this higher order provides a psychological anchor, creating a protective layer that bridges the fragile individual and a chaotic world. This projection grants us the internal strength required to step out into that world. The divine concept is an evolutionary tool designed to facilitate self-reliance. By maintaining the feeling of being protected, humans survive the terrifying realization of their own autonomy. Historical spiritual figures and avatars rarely taught that humanity should remain small or dependent on an external force. Instead, they emphasized that true strength comes from looking inward and conquering internal shadows of fear and illusion. Using the concept of God as a crutch for dependency fails to bring peace because it keeps the individual in a state of childhood. Spiritual maturity involves shifting the divine protector from a giant in the sky to an internal reserve of courage and resilience. True autonomy is reached when you outgrow the need for an external parent and become your own foundation. However, standing as an unshakable foundation can lead to a new problem, a feeling of total isolation from others. Compassion acts as the solution to this isolation. When we focus entirely on self-reliance, we build thick walls around the ego to stay safe. Empathy breaks these walls down. By extending compassion, the independent self reconnects, realizing we are part of an interconnected whole. Human development is complete when we transform survival instincts into high-level well-being, using our own capacity for courage to care for the world around us. Thank you for watching. This content was presented by Ajit Kumar Nair, psychologist. For online or offline support and guidance, contact 944-646-7779.